In this video, we're going to talk about how to use the quadratic formula. Now, quadratic formula is very useful when we are not able to find factors while factoring the quadratic equation. Now, even though if we are able to find the factors, we can still use the quadratic formula, but it is often used when we are not able to find factors while we are factoring our quadratic equation. Now, to begin, this is what a quadratic formula looks like. You have x is equal to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so I have written here when you cannot find factors, right? So if you are given any quadratic equation and if you are not able to find two factors that will add to give the middle term and multiply to give a times c, the first term and the last term, then you can always use the quadratic formula to find the factors or even solve the quadratic equation. Now we are going to do some examples and we are going to use the quadratic formula and solve some quadratic equations. Now take note that quadratic formula can be used in both scenarios. If you are able to find the factors, you can still use quadratic formula, and if you are not able to find factors, then for sure quadratic formula will be used there. So let's do an example. Example 1. Example 1, we have to solve this quadratic equation. You can see it is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So this is the quadratic equation. It is minus x squared minus 7x minus 12 equal to 0. So this is an quadratic equation, and we can see the coefficient here is minus 1. So this becomes type 2, right? So we are going to use the quadratic formula and solve for the value of x. So before that, we are going to write down our information that is given. So negative 1 is the value of a. So our a here is negative 1. Then for negative 7, we will write that for value of b. And then our c, of course, will be negative 12, right? So negative 1 came from here. There is an invisible 1, and negative 7 is here, this part, that is our value of b, and negative 12 is our value of c, right? So we put it down like this, and then we are going to write our quadratic formula. Now our quadratic formula, as we discussed, it is x is equal to minus b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac everything divided by 2a. So what we are going to do now, we are going to just plug in these values inside this formula, and this is known as the quadratic formula, right? So wherever you see a, wherever you see b, wherever you see, you plug in these values inside this formula, and then we are going to evaluate that. So looks like the value of b there is negative 7. So we are going to write that. The minus sign is there, so minus sign will go there. Then in the place of b, we are going to write negative 7. So that is our value of b. Then we put in that bracket. Then we have a plus and minus according to the formula. Then we have a square root. So square root of b, so b is negative 7, and then we have to square that, and then we have a minus sign there, and then we have 4, and then we have to plug in the value of a. So value of a is negative 1, so negative 1 will go there, and the value of c will be, of course, negative 12. So that will be under the square root, and then it says you have to divide everything by 2 times the value of a. So value of a here is negative 1. Okay, now once you have plugged everything inside the formula, you can start evaluating that. Okay, so negative 7 times negative 7, I mean negative 1 times negative 7 will give me positive 7, right? Then the plus and minus will come there, and then we have a square root of everything here. So 7 squared is 49, and this minus sign will be there. Then we have 4 times negative 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, and then negative 4 times negative 12 is positive 48. Okay, and then everything is divided by 2 times a. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Okay, so we are going to continue from there, and let's see if we can evaluate. So from there we have okay, let's continue from here. So we have that will be equal to 7 plus minus, then 49 minus 48 will be 1. So we have root of 1, and then everything is divided by negative 2. Okay, so we have 7 plus minus root of 1 is 1, and then that is divided by negative 2. Okay, so all these are values of x, right? This is all x. Okay, so first part will be our plus, and the second part will be minus. So we'll write 7 plus 1 divided by negative 2, and the other answer will be 7 minus 1 divided by negative 2, right? Now 7 plus 1, we know it is 8, and that is divided by negative 2. The other part will be 7 minus 1. 7 minus 1 is 6, and that is divided by negative 2, right? So 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4, and this side 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. So these are your values of x, right? So your answer will be in the solution set. X is an element of negative 4 comma negative 3. So that is your solution for this question. Okay, okay, let's do another question and see, let's see what we can do here. Okay, we have this time 6x squared minus 17x plus 12 is equal to 0, and we have to solve that, right? So we're going to use the quadratic formula and try and find the value of x, just what we did for example number 1. Okay, so let's write down the information provided. So the value of a is this one, 6. Then we look at the value of b. Value of b there is negative 17, and the value of c we have 12, right? After that, we are going to write down our quadratic formula. Our quadratic formula is x is equal to minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2 times a, right? That is our quadratic formula. Now what we will do, we are going to plug in all these values inside this quadratic formula. So that will be x is equal to now minus b, so that will be minus, and the value of b is negative 17, so negative 17 will go there. Then we have a plus minus according to the formula. Then we have a square root where you have b, so negative 17, and then square it. Then you have a minus 4 times a, so our value of a there is 6, right? So 6 is going to go there, and your value of c is 12, so 12 is going to go there. Now you divide everything by 2 times the value of a, so value of a is 6, so 2 times a. Okay, so we have everything in the system now. The thing left is to evaluate that. Okay, all right, so we have our x is equal to negative will become positive, so this will become positive 17, plus and minus the square root of 17 squared will be 289, right? Negative 17 square is 289, and the minus sign is going to go here. This minus sign is going to go here, and then 6 fours are 24 times 12 will give me 288, right? And then everything is divided by 2 times 6, so 2 times 6 is 12, right? So let's continue on another page. Okay, so we have x is equal to 17 plus and minus, and then 289 minus 288 is root of 1, 289 minus 288 is 1, and then everything is divided by 12. Okay, so we are here now. Now things are simple, so we have x is equal to 17 plus or minus root of 1 is just 1, and then everything is divided by 12. Okay, so now we have x is equal to 17, we consider the positive part, so plus 1 divided by 12. Then we consider the negative part, that will be 17 minus 1 divided by 12. 17 plus 1 is 18 divided by 12, and 17 minus 1 is 16, and that will be divided by 12, right? Now if you do 18 divided by 12, you will get something as 1.5, and when you divide this 16 divided by 12, that will be 1.33. Okay, so this is your values of x. So finally you can write that in a solution set. X is an element of 1.33 comma 1.5. so those are your values of x when you evaluate or when you solve for this quadratic equation. Okay, so take note that quadratic formula can be used even though if you are able to find the factors of a quadratic equation, and quadratic formula is always useful when you cannot find two factors, right? When you are doing or when you are factorizing any quadratic equation. So that means quadratic formula is a neutral formula that can be used in both scenarios, where you can find the two factors and where you cannot find two factors while factorizing any quadratic. This formula is neutral and it can be used in both the scenarios. Okay. All right.